Okay.
We got a larger group.
Yeah, it's all right. I know it's that pork. They should not have given you that pork.
No.
Shouldn't have gave you that pork. Well, that's right. Don't eat pork. Don't eat no pig. Eat pig. Pigs are good. All right. So we're gonna do a couple of things. We're gonna talk about this concept of power and getting things done. I would like to have 2 volunteers, if I could, help me out with this thing. All right, come up here. And I'll take Lee. Only because he hasn't contributed a whole lot. So I need you up here. All in the way. All right. So this is what I'd like for you to do. Sir, I'd like for you to stand up on the table. Stand up on the table. Hold on, it's wobbling. Oh, is it wobbling? Okay. No, it's not too bad. And I would like for you to describe what you see.
Statue.
Yeah, what you see. Describe what you see.
I see a diverse group.
Okay, you see a diverse group.
Some chairs.
You see some chairs.
Table. Tongue in your mouth.
Okay, a tongue, something. Okay. What else?
Some sinks, counters.
Some sinks and counters.
Floor and ceiling.
Floor to ceiling. All right, great. Oh, you see trees out there. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Green leaves.
Yeah, can you see out that window? What's outside the window?
It's got a car.
You see that car? What color is the car?
It's
Like a grayish. Okay. Grayish, brownish. All right. Okay, so a truck passing. All right. Cool. Just stay there for me. So thank you very much. Let's give him a hand. So just stay right there. Sir, I'd like for you to do me one favor and have a seat under the table. All right, great. Can you, I'd like for you to tell me what you see. What is it that you see?
I see everybody's shoes and shorts.
Okay. So you see, hold on. So you see shoes and shorts. All right, what else?
I feel like I'm beneath their voice, so I'm like trapped in something.
Okay, so you feel trapped in something. All right, I didn't ask you about how you feel. I just asked you about what you saw. What do you see?
I see a bike, I see people.
Okay, so you see a bicycle. All right.
I can't see Milner.
You can't see Milner. All right. Can you tell me what do you see out the window?
Bus.
You saw a bus. That's good. That's good. What else do you see?
Trees.
You see trees.
Blue sky, clouds.
Blue sky, clouds.
Church
Okay.
across the street.
You see a church across the street. Oh yeah, right over here. All right. One more thing you see. It can be inside or outside.
I see the floor.
You see the floor. Okay? Cool. I want you to stay there just for a second. For you guys, what's the difference? Or what did you notice about their 2 descriptions?
That they had different.
Go ahead, sir.
That they seen different things.
That they saw different things.
Some similar, but like.
Some similar, but like.
I mean, like, but still different.
But different. Okay? Sir, you had your hand up. He saw the top of things while he saw the bottom of things. Okay? Any other observations?
It was like this supposed to be representation of like rich and poor or something.
I don't know. You tell me. His question was, is this a demonstration of rich and poor?
He's rich.
He's rich, he's poor. Where do you get that? Because I didn't say anything about that. Where do you get that from? Yes, sir. So from or owner or slave. Okay. So where do you get that from? Because I didn't say anything about rich or poor or.
Because like he sees like the world basically, and he's like stuck underneath the table.
Okay. So he can see the world where he's stuck under the table. All right. Are they in the same space?
Yes.
Yes. We're all in this room together. Do they have the same vantage point of life, of the world, of this room? Yes? No? All right, cool. You guys can get down. Thank you. Good. Get down. Yeah. All right. So I want to hear from you guys. What was that was a nice LeBron James move too, with a little extra elbow there. So tell me, what was it like being under the table?
I was trapped.
You were trapped.
Couldn't see nothing.
You couldn't see anything. Okay?
I felt incarcerated.
You felt incarcerated being under the table. All right? What does it feel like being on top of the table?
I can see everything. See everything. See how things are going on.
Okay, so you can see everything. You can see what things are going on. Okay?
I felt like a slave.
You felt like a slave?
Because he's free. He can see everything. I only got a limited amount of things I can see.
Okay. Okay. So when we talk about this community activism and we talk about what we can do, what was the... So, do you know what a paradigm is? Has anyone ever heard that word before? Paradigm. What is a paradigm? It is simply the way you see the world. Very good. A paradigm is the way you see the world. Okay? So what was it that created the paradigm or the ways that the two people saw the world?
You said what created it?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
So what enabled these two people who are in the same space to see the world in two different ways? If paradigm is the way you see the world, did they both see this room the same way?
No.
No, they did not. Why?
Because we were in two different spaces.
You're in two different spaces. So what created the difference between the two spaces?
The world.
The world did?
Come on, guys, think about it. Give me some answers.
Yes, sir. The what? Their height off the ground. So what was the thing that created one to be high and one to be low? It was the what? It's the table. Right? It's the table. So I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So we're going to talk about the table. What do you think that the table could represent? It could be a source of power. The table could be power. What else could the table represent?
High and low.
High and low? What was that?
Everything under power.
Okay, so all this stuff under power. There's one important thing that we didn't mention that can also give you power. It starts with ed and ends in cation.
Education.
Education. So did either one of these guys set up this table? No. How did they get under and on the table?
Power.
Yeah. How did that happen? I told them to. I told one to stand on the table, and I told the other to sit under the table. Why did this experiment or this experience work?
You told us to do it.
Because I told you to do it, and what?
You did it.
You did it. If you would have said, no, I'm not sitting under no table, what would have happened to my little experiment?
It would have failed.
It would have failed. It wouldn't have worked. So by you standing on the table and you saying, I'm going to be under the table, I was able to do my little experiment. But if either one of you had said, I'm not doing that, what could I have done to make you do it? Huh? I could have paid them? If I pay somebody, is that really making them do it?
No, that's
No.
their choice.
Is there anything I could have done to make you do it?
Could have asked us, so we could have had an opinion.
I can make you do anything. All right. So let's go back to these two questions. So why do you think people are poor? Why are people poor? Yes, sir. Because they don't make the right decisions in life. All right. What else? Why else are people poor?
Lazy.
Because they're lazy. What else? What was that? Okay, well, say it in your own words.
They don't really care.
They don't really care. Poor people don't really care. Yes, sir.
Bad influence.
They're bad influences. They have bad influences on their life. Why else are people poor?
They don't like to be told what to do.
They don't like to be told what to do. That's why people are poor. Why else?
They're born into it.
They're born into being poor. Okay? Yes, sir.
No, because why?
That's all good. When it comes up, pop back up. All right? So what do we end up saying about poor? So we talked a little, and part of it is they don't have money either, right? I mean, poor people don't have cash flow, right? So what do we end up saying about poor people? Yes, sir. That they're bums. We call them bums. What else? Yes, sir. They're hobos. So bums, hobos. What else?
A whole bunch of different ones.
They sleep in boxes. They don't deserve what everybody else is. If they work hard enough, they should be just like who?
Us.
Us. So they don't work hard enough. Poor people don't work hard enough, right? Because they're lazy, and they have bad influences. They use drugs. They, all this crazy stuff that we say about poor people. But I'm going to flip the script. I want us to think about this in a different way. Before we answer this question, I want to ask this question. Why are rich people rich? Yes, sir. They what?
Could have won the money.
They could have won the money, so they're lucky in some cases. Yes, sir. They made good decisions in life and got an education. That's why rich people are rich. Why else?
Stereotypes.
What about stereotypes?
Like the influence of different people. I don't know,
No, you're on the right path. You're on the right path, right? So the influences of a lot of people help rich people be rich.
Yeah.
Okay? I saw another hand almost go up. Yes, sir.
They work hard.
They work hard. Rich people work hard. You ever seen movies or videos like Angelina Jolie? I'm sure she's working really hard. Would you say she's rich? Anytime you see her in the magazine, what's she doing?
Awesome.
Chilling. Every time I see Angelina Jolie, what's the other one? Beyonce, right? I see Beyonce. She's always on the beach chilling. I'm sure that's a lot of hard work, right? But that's what we say about rich people. This is what I want to offer you. Why rich people are rich and why poor people are poor comes down to this answer. Who do rich people hang out with?
Rich people.
Rich people. Who do rich people get advice about their money from?
Rich people.
Rich people. And it makes sense, right? I mean, if you got money, you're not going to ask somebody who don't have money how to get more money. Does that that makes sense, right? So why are rich people rich? Because they have been taught to be rich. So let's flip to my original question. Why do you think poor people are poor?
Because they haven't been taught.
They've been taught to be poor. Who do poor people hang out with?
Poor people.
Other poor people. Who are poor people born to? To poor people. Right? So when we talk about this, and we talk about our community, and we talk about how do we engage our community, one of the things that we have to ask ourselves is, will we be rich or will we be poor? Now, when I talk about richness and I talk about poor, I'm not just talking about money. Because growing up, my family did not have a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of money. I went to Head Start. We were below the poverty line. I was put in special programs so they could bring my education level up to all the other kids. ... I was one of those poor kids. But the interesting thing was we did not have money, but we were never poor.
Oh.
Part of it was wealth, right? The other part was, my mother said, although we don't have a lot of money, you're going to school and you're going to be clean. My mother said, we may not have a lot of money, but you will act right and learn your lessons in school. So when we talk about this richness, when we talk about this poorness or this poverty, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about being rich in spirit and in character. And also being poor in spirit and in character. All right? So we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about how power relates to those two things. So what is attitude? What is attitude? Has anyone ever been told you have an attitude? You know what an attitude is and experienced one? Okay. So what is an attitude? Yes, sir. Okay. The way you act or respond to things. What else is an attitude? Yes, sir. The way you act around others. So it's the way you respond, the way you act. What else? Yes, sir.
The way you show your feelings.
All right. The way you show your feelings is your attitude. And I will say that all of your definitions are absolutely correct. And I like to add something to that definition of an attitude. Right? So my parents married young. They were sophomores in college, fell in love, got married, had me. So I'm kind of like a college baby, right? So my parents were in college, and so they did a lot of experiments in school, and they used us as the guinea pigs. And so they would try all sorts of discipline methods because they were taking these psychology classes and whatnot. And so instead of whooping us, I don't know if anybody's familiar with that term, getting a whooping. I'm not sure how to spell it.
Not this group.
But not this group, okay. So instead of whooping us, they wanted to try to do some other stuff. So they would put us in the corner and have us hold two dictionaries while standing on one foot in the corner, right? And they would try all sorts of crazy stuff. And then my parents would, they would say, you know, boy, fix your face. Anybody had a parent or somebody talk about that? You know, you get, fix your face. And so I'd be like, trying to fix my face because I didn't know really what they were talking about. Or, this was the craziest thing, my dad would say, boy, go to your room till you learn how to act. And so I'd be in my room for a while, chilling, and then I'd come out into the hallway and I'd say, to be or not to be. I spent a lot of time in my room, right? And my parents didn't understand acting anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing Shakespeare, and they don't even get it, right? So I always wonder what my parents were talking about and what they meant. And one day it hit me when they were talking about my attitude. And so my dad was a pastor. He still is a pastor, but he was my pastor as a kid. And so on Sunday, we would go to church from 7:30 a.m. to open up the church for Sunday school. And we'd leave the church at 11:30 p.m. And we stopped at 3 o'clock for chicken. Not because we were black, but because chicken is delicious. All right? So I know Sunday, church all day. So Friday night, I'm 17. I asked my dad for the car. And I said, Dad, can I borrow the car? And what does my dad say? Because he loves me.
Yeah.
He says yes. So he tosses me the keys. I get in the car. I'm kicking it with my friends. That means hanging out. And then I fill up the car with gas. I come home before my curfew. I toss my dad the keys. And he says, I have what kind of an attitude? A good attitude. A positive attitude. What do I say about my dad's attitude? That he has a good or a positive attitude. Right? So, Sunday rolls along. My best friend Dexter calls me and says, Andre, can you pick me up for the movies at noon? What do I know about Sunday?
Church.
I got church all day. But you know what? I'm 17. I'm invulnerable. And Jesus is my friend. So I go up to my dad and I say, Dad, can I borrow the car? And what does my dad say? Not only does he say no, but he gives me a sermon about how I'm leading people to hell. Right? Every negative consequence in my household, the ultimate consequence was that you were going to hell. And either you could go there on your own or they would point you to the way. And so I would say that my dad had what kind of an attitude?
Negative.
A negative or a bad attitude. What would he then say about my attitude?
Disrespectful.
That is a negative attitude or a bad attitude. So Friday I had a good attitude and so did my dad. Now we are at Sunday and he has a bad attitude and so do I. What made the difference between the two attitudes?
Two different responses.
Our responses? What made the difference? The scenario I was in? All right, I want you to think about your own life. All right? Put this in your own perspective. I want you to think about what happened or what was it. Let's say you go up to an adult and you say, adult, can I have XYZ? And they say, yes. How do you feel?
Feel good because you're getting
feel
something.
Good. Another scenario. You go to another adult and you say, adults, I'd like to have ABC. They say, no. How do you feel? Mad. What's the difference between the two scenarios? When you get what you want, you have a good attitude. When you don't get what you want, you have a bad attitude. Getting what you want is called what? In high school and adult terms, it's called reaching your what? Starts with G and ends in O's. Your goals. So when my parents was telling me I need to fix my attitude, what were they trying to tell me I needed to change? My goals. They were trying to teach me that I need to change my goals. All right? So when we talk about this concept of power, we talk about this paradigm, how we see the world, it's important that we understand that when people have bad attitudes, it's clear that what is happening? They're not getting what they want. So when you check yourself and you're like, what is the first thing you need to ask yourself?
What am I doing?
What am I doing because I'm not what? Getting what I want. So the second question should be, what is it that I want? Right? And so if we want to help people in the neighborhood, we want to help build our community, we want to engage people, we have to find out what people want. If we want to change our community, we have to figure out what people want. How do you find out what people want?
By asking.
You ask them. You have conversations with them. You talk to them. Which means, who do you have conversations with? Do you have conversations with people who are more like you or less like you? More like you, right? So let's say you're in the community, you got some grandmas, you got some parents that you want to talk to and find out, how I can be helpful in the community. What might be an advantage that you could have over somebody who doesn't know this kind of stuff in terms of approaching them? How should you physically look when you approach somebody to offer them help?
Good.
Should you look more like them or less like them?
Like,
More like them, right? Because they'll be more apt to what? To help you out, right? So I'm an old cat, right? So if I want to talk with young people and help young people change the world, is it better for me to go talk to them or for you to go talk to them? I would say after being with me, you're ready to go talk to them yourself, right? I can still talk to them, but it's much more effective if you do it, right? So if you want to talk to an adult, or you want to be successful, you want to be a mover and shaker, showing your draws, is that a helpful thing or is that hurtful to you trying to accomplish a goal?
Hurtful.
It's hurtful, right? Now, I want to be real clear because people have talked about hair and hygiene and all that kind of stuff. Do you see how wild and crazy my hair is? You see that, right? You see it? Yeah. I do that on purpose. My hair is wild and crazy on purpose. It's not an accident. But I want you to know that however you demonstrate yourself it should have a purpose. All right? How you present yourself should have a purpose. It is hot outside. I'm wearing a jacket. I'm serving a purpose. All right? So when you think about, cutting your hair or not cutting your hair, I want you to ask yourself, what purpose is this serving? All right? Because one of the things that you will begin to understand is that I pay a cost for having my hair like this. There are certain people who won't take me seriously and they think they can take their power because I look like this. But I look like this because I want them to think about who I am as opposed to just walking past. All right? So that's a whole other conversation. So attitude, knowing what people want. So if you want to get some power, one of the things you have to do, and it's a dangerous thing in saying, but you have to play the game until you understand the game, how to do your own thing. Right? So let's take LeBron James, for example. If LeBron James came into basketball and said, you know what, I'm going to dribble on 1 foot. I said, I'm just going to play the game. That's just how I play. I'm going to dribble down the court with 1 foot. What would people say about that? That's crazy. Would he have been able to get into the NBA dribbling on 1 foot? No. He had to learn the basics of the game to be able to extrapolate and make bigger plays and do all kinds of creative stuff. Right? So he can be creative now because he's mastered the basics. All right? I know I don't want to talk you to death. I'm going to try to get this activity done and move on to some other stuff. So I just want to talk about respect and then we'll do an activity. So how many people have heard adults say, you need to earn my respect? Anybody ever heard an adult say that? All right. What is respect? What is it? What's respect? Yes, sir.
Showing that you care about something.
Okay, showing that you care about something. What else?
A sign of honesty and trust.
Okay. You want to stand up?
Like a sign of honesty and trust.
Okay, it's a sign of honesty and trust.
Ricky, do you have something?
Yes, sir. Treating people how you want to be treated. Now, the interesting thing is, I often hear adults say, you have to earn my respect. You want to slide up some of you kind of in the space.
I'm at.
So I hear adults say, you got to earn my respect. And this is what I want to say to you. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Here's an example. So so there's a girl at my dad's church that I liked. Her name was Ruthie Furman. She was 13. I was 9. I like older women. So you know, one day I'm hanging out at church and Ruthie catches, and I catch Ruthie's eye. And she says, "Andre, come here for a second." So I come over there, and she was like, "Will you run over there and get that thing for me?" So what do you think I did?
Let's go get it.
I read up, right? Got the thing, came back, and she said, "Andre, if you really like me, you'll go over there and give me that thing over there." And so, what do you think I did?
Let's go get that.
I ran over there and got it, right? So I came back. She said, "Andre, if you really, really like me, would you go over there and get me that thing?" What do you think I did?
You got it.
I ran as far away from Ruthie as I possibly could. Why? At 9 years old, I knew she was playing, right? I was smart enough to know, like, wait a minute, she don't really like me, right? And so what I started understanding is, sometimes people will say, you got to earn my respect. But then they do stuff, and you're like, I'm supposed to respect that, right? Or the thing that they want you to respect is the opposite of what they're doing. Have you ever noticed that? Somebody will say that, you got to, I'm the boss of this, and you got to do this, that, the other. You eat your vegetables while I eat chicken. You ever had some scenario kind of like that, right? And so I'm working on a project with my high school kids, and so we're down in St. Paul, in the Midway area of St. Paul. And so what they had done is they said, we want to do a service learning project, and we want to improve the neighborhood. Now, I don't know like what kind of school situations you guys come from or whatnot, but the kids I had were kind of rough, right? And if you looked at them too long, that was called mean mugging, and they want to fight. You say the wrong thing, you step on their shoe, and it's on, right? So I had started getting all that crazy behavior out of them. We could actually sit down and have civil conversations. People could disagree and not go to blows, right? People's families were not going to be annihilated because we didn't believe the same things and all sorts of stuff, right? So I got this stuff out of them. So now we're practicing to go out into the community. And so I had my kids, and we were working on stuff, and I got them little outfits. They had little shirts with little pins and whistles and clipboards, so people could see them as being, somewhat professional, right? And we learned stress management and all this kind of stuff. So my kids start going out into the community, and guess how the community treated my kids? Terribly. Like trash, like dirt. Like everything that my kids thought that they would treat them like. And so here I am, the teacher, and I've been promising them, this is going to be a big thing, we're going to have some fun, we'll be able to help our community and all this kind of stuff. And all of these fools in the community are hating on my students. So what do you think my students start going back to? They want to go back to their thuggish ways because they know that I can get results with that. So I got to think about something, and I really got to start telling them the truth, because their thuggish ways is what's held them up from being who they want to be in the first place. But here it is, the world is showing them that their thuggish ways is what the world wants. So now I'm in a tough place as a teacher, because I told them that the world is a great place, you can do great things if you do X, Y, Z. So then I had to realize that the truth that I had to tell them is the truth about the world. And the truth is, when it comes to respect, respect can never be earned. There's not enough stuff you can do to earn somebody's respect. So how do you get somebody's respect? You have to give it. You have to give respect. Now, is it easy to give respect to somebody who's being respectful to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy. Anybody can do that. But when we talk about trying to change our community, we're trying to change how people think, what they learn about themselves, that have a different paradigm, to give them some power, we have to be different. And we have to give people respect who have been disrespectful to us. All right? I want to tell you a story, and actually I'm going to scrap the activity, and maybe we'll just cut this a little bit short. What time is it right now? It's what?
1:45.
Oh, 1:45. Oh, I got it good. Well, I came early, didn't I? Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, I'll keep going with this, and I'll tell you this story. And I'm going to curse in this story, so I apologize ahead of time, but it's for the story, so it'll make sense in the story, right? So I live in Mounds View, which is a little south of Brooklyn Park, over by Blaine, Columbia Heights, Fridley, over that way. And so it's a Saturday morning, and I'm going to run a bunch of errands. And so I go over to the restaurant near my house to grab some lunch. So I go in there, and I notice that there's a guy at the end of the bar. And this guy is drunk. This is like 10:30 in the morning. The guy is drunk, red-faced, the whole nine. And so I'm standing there and I'm ordering my stuff. And I close my menu, and the guy moved from the end of the bar and sits right next to me. And I'm like, because drunk people are just crazy. You never know what they're going to do, right? And it's been this early in the morning. You've been drinking a lot to get that lit this early in the morning. So I'm standing there, and we do what most Minnesotans do. We just chit-chat. Just talk about the sports, the weather, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then he leans over to me, and he looks at me, and he says, you know what? I don't like niggers. It was a white guy.
I would beat his.
Right? So my first impression was like, ooh. Now, remember, I'm talking about this in the context of giving respect to somebody who's being disrespectful. Right? So that's our context. So I'm standing there, and I'm like, woo, what do I do? Right? So I'm like trying to shake it off mentally. And I do what any good Minnesotan would do. I try to change the subject. How about those Vikings? Right? So we talk about the Vikings. And so then something in my spirit said, go back and talk about the N-word he just used. And so I go back to him and I said, sir, when you talk about the N-word, what are you talking about? Describe that for me. And he says, lazy, uneducated, ghetto, north side, all this kind of stuff, right? So this is what he says to me. And so I look at him and I say, well, do you know any white people that fit that description? And he goes, yeah. I said, oh, how about the twins? Right? So we started talking about the twins and that kind of stuff. And then he leans over to me and he says, you know what? I don't like niggers, but I like you. Now I'm really confused, right? So am I or am I not, right? And what, how do you use that definition? What is that? So I just kind of smile and I look at him and I said, sir, what makes me, why do you like me? And he says, I like you because you got a good head on your shoulders, you're educated, you're articulate, you make sense, and blah, 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 blah. And so I look at him and I said, well, sir, do you know any black people? And he says, yes. I said, well, what if all the black people that you met, all the black people that you know, all the black people that you've encountered were idiots? What if they were all idiots? And what if all the other black people that you don't know are just like me? And he looks at me and he says, I gotta pee. So he gets up and he goes off to the restroom. And I'm like, I didn't have to fight anybody. I'm good. I'm out of here. So I get my check. I'm signing the thing. I'm getting my check. I'm walking out. And guess who meets me at the door? It's this dude, right? But he's a little bit different. His hair is combed over to the side. He's got water driplets on his face. And he has a damp napkin. And he reaches out with this damn napkin and he says, I grow chickens. If you ever need fresh eggs, give me a call. So I take the napkin, I go my way, he goes his way. I didn't call him for the eggs. Right? But what happened in that exchange? He gave me respect. Why? Okay, let's back up. Would you have understood after he called me that name if I would have lit him up? Would you have understood? If I, pow, out there, calling me that name, what's up with you? Right? Would you have understood?
Yeah.
You would have understood, right? But if I had done that, what would have happened to him other than getting beat down? He either lost his respect. What else? He would have I would have confirmed everything that he thought about people who he thinks look just like me. Right? He was being disrespectful to me. He wanted some kind of rise out of me. He wanted a response from me. Did I give him a response? Yeah, I gave him a response. Was it the one he was looking for? No. I want to tell you, all too often, people try to take your power and use it against you. I don't know if you've ever seen, are you familiar with Wing Chun? You've seen Ultimate Fighting, right? Right? I love the guys that do this kind of stuff. Like, the dude will be charging, like, ugh, and the dude sidesteps. You ever seen that happen?
Yeah.
You sidestep and bam. What does he do? He uses the dude's own power against him. And when we talk about this power and trying to get things done, people use your lack of education against you. They use your anger, your emotions against you because they know if I can get you upset, then I got you off balance. Boom. Boom. Right? So how you see the world is important. People are rich and poor, not because of where they are, but because of who is teaching them. So if you want to be rich in spirit, you got to be around who? If I want to be rich, who am I going to hang around? Rich people. So if I want to be rich in spirit, if I want to have a strong spirit, I got to hang around with who? People with a strong spirit. If I want to be rich in knowledge, I got to be around who? People rich in knowledge. My granddaddy used to say, birds of a feather wake up with fleas. Birds of a feather flock together. You ever heard of that? No? Lay down with dogs, wake up with fleas, right? Whoever you are around, they will dictate what your future is. So if you want a different future, you got to do what? Change your people hang around. And if you can't change the people around you, you change the people around you. Okay? There's that. The last thing that I'll leave you with is this. That there has to be, in our communities, and we have to hold this for ourselves, this concept of dignity and honor and being human. Dignity says that I have the right to exist, and nobody can take that right away from me. All right? Honor is respect at a high level. Who do we honor? Who are we supposed to honor in our society? Who do we give high levels of respect to? The president. Who else? The troops, our parents. What did you say? To God, right? So we give high respect to them. All right? Being. How many of us, raise your hand if you can answer yes to this next set of questions. Please raise your hand if you took a test or you purchased a ticket that made you eligible to be born. So how many of you bought a ticket to be born? How many of you passed the test to be born? How many of you had to do push-ups to be born? None of us did anything, did we? We were just born, right? We didn't even ask to be here. Our parents sent out an invitation. I don't want to think about how that invitation came. It's disgusting. But our parents sent out an invitation, and bam, here we are. And lastly, we are working every day to be human, to use our power and ability to help shape and change our environment. All right? Now, I want to tell you right now that the marketplace, music videos, movies, Grand Theft Auto 16, what are they on now? 6.
No, 5.
Is trying to rob you of this every day. What do you do in Grand Theft Auto?
You do federal stuff.
You what?
You do federal stuff.
You do federal stuff. What's that mean?
Like you steal cars.
You steal cars.
Illegal stuff.
You beat up people. You blow them up. What else? You can steal money. What else?
Take prostitutes.
You can do what?
Go see prostitutes.
You can go see prostitutes. What else can you do to the prostitutes?
Low key, you got sex.
You
with
can beat them with a baseball bat. You can do what else with them? You can have sex with them. You can kill them.
Stuff you can't do in real life.
Stuff you can't do in real life. We're going to get to that in just a second.
Stuff you shouldn't do.
Stuff that happens in real life. Grand Theft Auto is trying to rob you of all of this stuff. One of the things that I want you to pay attention to is that how many people have heard of a flight simulator? A flight simulator. Who uses flight simulators?
Pilots.
Pilots, astronauts. Why do they use simulators?
Because it trains.
They don't know how to fly.
Come on, let him talk, bro.
They don't know how to fly a spaceship or a plane. They don't want to just like going out on their first time and crashing.
Right. So they don't. So they use simulators so they learn and practice how not to crash a plane or a spaceship. The video games that we play, guess what those are?
Simulations.
They are simulations that are teaching you how to what?
Live your life.
How to kill, how to rob, how to rape, how to maim, how to kill. What does that do for this stuff?
Nothing.
Can you have dignity in your respecting yourself if you're doing those things? No. So one of the things that we have to be mindful of is although those things may be fun and we say that they're fake, they are actually simulations trying to prepare us for something. They are simulations. So here's another point I want to give to you. There are some scientists, and I don't have the videos with me, but there are scientists that have proven that when you do a thing, so let's say it's picking up the bottle or it's rubbing the wax off the cup, whatever it is that you are doing physically, in your brain sends off certain kinds of signals, right? When LeBron James goes up to the foul line, what does he do before he shoots?
Dribbles.
He dribbles. Why is he dribbling? He's done this before. Why didn't he just walk up and...
Gains his conscience.
He's what?
Gaining his conscience.
He's gaining his conscience? What else is he doing?
He's like gathering himself.
He's gathering himself. He's getting himself in a position to do what he's done thousands of times, right? So he's now getting his physical body in line with his mind. Because everybody knows don't put Shaq on the free throw line. Right? Why?
He's going to miss.
He's going to miss. Why is he going to miss? And this is the trick about Shaq. Why is Shaq going to miss a free throw?
Too big.
Because he's impacted that's too much power.
Shaq doesn't think he's good at free throws. Could Shaq be good at free throws? Yeah. But guess what? He don't think he's good at it. Why? Because he's got other stuff he can work on. I can be good at this, that, and the other thing. I don't need to be worried about that. Right? What the scientists figured out is that when you do something in real life, your brain fires these signals. But when you think about a thing, guess what happens to your brain? the same thing. So your brain does not know the difference between what's actually happening and you thinking about what's happening. So if you think about murder, you may as well add what to your brain? Murder. If you practice Grand Theft Auto stealing a car, to your brain says what?
Steal a car.
Oh, we done stole a car. Right? So then when the real situation comes up, somebody's, oh, dude, come on, let's go steal this car. What are you more likely to do because you've been practicing?
Steal the car. Or at least try to.
Right? If you're not thinking. And so what I would encourage you, that the power that you want, the ability to get things done, you can use money or wealth, you can use fame or politics, you can even use violence if you want, if you're being able to be helpful in the community. And the best way to get that is through respect. I want to talk a little bit about wealth because you brought that up. What's the difference between being rich and being wealthy? Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the basic difference is exactly what he said. That rich means that I have a lot of money. So for an example, Shaq is rich. Shaq's children will be wealthy. Right? So wealth is something that it gets passed down. Now, when we talk about wealth, and we talk about what it means to be rich or poor, whatever you pass down to the next generation is what your wealth is. So whatever morals you have, if your moral is get as many girls as you can before you're 17, guess what your children are going to inherit?
What you did.
They're going to inherit what you did. If you're, and this I do a lot of men's group, and I talk about this with my men that I work with in the group. If you go to jail, who else goes to jail? Your whole family goes to jail. Example, if a father goes to jail, the mother's left with the kids. What's the mother? What are the kids going to be asking for at some point? They want to go see their father. Where they're going to go see their father if he's in jail? They're going to take him to jail to see the father. So now the child is now what? Exposed to the criminal justice system in ways that nobody should be until they have to be, right? So I want you to think about that stuff. And know that you have to give people respect before you ever can earn it. All right? And that there's dignity and honor in being human, and this is what you deserve. It's your right to have it. People, you have the right to be respected for who you are. Not because of what you do, not because of what you look like, or not because of what somebody else wants you to look like. But you have the right to have dignity and honor in being human. Any questions? Any questions? No questions. Does this make sense at all? What made sense? What spoke to you out of all the stuff that I gave you? What made sense? Yes, sir.
That more people are poor because they made like poor decisions. They hang out with poor people.
Did I say that poor people are poor because they make poor decisions?
No.
I want to be clear about that. Did I say that?
No.
Did you hear that?
Which what we agreed to.
Okay. This is what I want to offer. And I want to say this again because it's important that I'm clear. What's that? Say it again. Poor people are poor not because of the decisions they've made,
Because they were taught.
but because they were taught to be poor. What is the saving grace to that? What can be changed about being taught to be poor?
Teach them.
What's that?
Teach them.
Yeah. If I have been taught something, I can learn something what?
Better.
Better or different or another way of being, right? Rich people are rich because they were taught to be rich. Poor people are poor because they were taught to be poor. But the exciting thing is that I can teach somebody how to be, if they're poor, I can teach them how to be what? Rich. I can teach them. All right? Another thing that stood out for somebody. I haven't heard much from you all afternoon. So what's one thing that you got from this that made sense for you? Come back to you? Okay. Somebody else. What's one more thing that you got out of this that made sense for you? Yes, sir.
I like the respect thing. I basically like the scenarios and stuff that you explain. Like when you told us that, it made me think about like you can't give respect unless you give it and stuff like that. So like I think it is like an intelligent statement of you saying that. Yeah, I mean, basically, like, getting respect and stuff like that is just like, you gotta earn it and stuff. So if I'm gonna give respect, I have to give it. But then,
yeah. Ready?
Stand up.
Okay, we'll come back to you one more time. You get one more pass. Anybody else? What was one thing that stood out for you, sir?
I like what you did with the difference between welfare and rich.
What did you like about it? What was it?
stand up.
I don't know, I just like
Okay. All right, good. That's good. That's good. Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
The hot though.
Okay. So that whole table thing. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. If there are no other questions, hopefully, if you see me on the street, please speak. Right? If I see you on the street, I won't embarrass you by speaking first, but please speak to me, and then, then I know it's okay to speak to you. I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. And I really want to say that you guys can and will change our community. You know what our community's challenges are. I'm in a conference right now, and they're talking about, this problem and that problem and blah, blah, blah. So I had to get out of there so I could come and talk to the real people who understand what's really happening in our communities and the people who can actually really change things. These police officers that you're working with, I've been working with them for at least the last 5 or 6 years, and they're really great folks. And I don't like cops, to be quite honest. But I really appreciate how these guys work and how they care about the community and the people that they serve. So please take to heart and give them the respect, but also give them the charge to keep that level of respect in the community, knowing that you have to give respect before you give it in the face of being disrespected. Just a quick story. If I meet an officer and I give him attitude, what is he going to give me back? Attitude. If I meet an officer and he gives me attitude, what do I give him back?
Respect.
I have to give him respect, because if I give him attitude, what's going to happen?
It's going to get worse.
It's going to worse. It's going to be worse. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you ever encounter between you and a police officer, who's going to win?
Police officer.
The police officer. Whether you're right, wrong, or otherwise, at that moment, he's going to win. And I will tell you that the system has its kinks, but for the most part, it works. And so if you get caught in a scrape, or you get caught in a pinch, flow with the system. Don't take no felonies, but flow with the system, and things will typically work out. At least they have for me. And I'm sure my background is worse than some of yours, and maybe not as challenging as others. But I've been relatively successful because I've started implementing a lot of this stuff into my own life. You're in charge of your attitude. But to shape your attitude, you have to know what your goals are. All right? Thanks so much. Have a great day.